All right, going live in just a moment. Hello, hello, hello. Testing. All right, let's do this. All right. Sunset Spark Live. We're finally back on Twitch. Great news, especially great. So we're going to be building robots today, but after this, at 3 o'clock today, we have an exciting new class where I'm going to do your homework. If you're a middle school or a high school student that has been subjected to computer science homework, I'm going to do it for you, and you can just copy me. We're going to do it live. I'm going to give criticisms and editorials on computer science homework. It'll be really fun, I think. My first student today already sent me the homework that I'm going to be doing at 3 o'clock today. But now, we're building robots. Last week, we were working on a fish robot that I destroyed. I wasn't happy with it. I don't have any pictures of it. I destroyed it. In the end, I wasn't happy. But I saw a mechanism that I thought in a book that I thought might help us with this, where it's basically a mechanism that you turn, and as you turn, it pulls these pins up and down. And so I'm going to try to replicate that mechanism, and maybe we make it into a fish. Maybe it's just this thing, and we can turn it into whatever we want once we're done. So it doesn't have to be a fish, but I think it might get a good pattern where it makes a thing move kind of like this. Let me set some parts up here. The way it looked was kind of like this, where it could make a shape move like that. So I'm going to try to replicate that today. Hey, Owen. Glad you're on board. We're on Twitch again, thankfully. I don't really like watching on YouTube either. So I'm glad we're back on Twitch. We're also on YouTube still, but you get the idea. I'm sure Kuzazi will be joining us soon. All right, so let's get started. I don't know what motors I'm going to use today. I could use the large motor, or actually I'm probably going to use the large motor because I want it to kind of stand up. So I'll probably use the large motor today. Let's get to this. Push. Boom. All right, we're going to use the large motor. This is going to be an axle-heavy project. Based on should I draw out what I can remember? That might be a good way to do this. Let me get a pen and a marker. So the way it looked was something kind of like this, where this is the stand. This is the ground floor here, so this is the floor. And you spin this thing, and it spins this rod that goes through it. And as this rod spins, it's layered. So as it spins, these pieces which will probably be axles in my project, move up and down. But the trick is that this rod and these axles need to be able to spin around the rod here. So I'm going to use, for those pieces, I'm going to use these things. I'm going to use these down there. The axle connectors that are like I don't know if they call them three. Are they ones or sixes? So they're ones. They're size 1. They're type 1 axle connectors, but they're like half an axle connector really. So I'm going to use those, and then I'm going to use a bunch of axles. I'm going to use, what would be a good way to do this? So if we need them multi-leveled, let's see here. Let me try the slightly longer one. Oh, I bet this is the one I want. I bet I want this one, but let me get a few out from each side. Okay. So last week we were talking about how it's fun to have costumes for robots, and I was copying that koi fish Lego Forma project, trying to replicate that model, and I don't think I did a very good job, and I don't really like trying to replicate things. I mean, sometimes that's nice, but doing it on air isn't exactly fun. It's not the challenge I'm looking for. Okay. So there's a piece that I kind of want to use here, but I'm not sure if it's in the kits. Let me check. It is. There's 2 in each kit. I don't think I've ever used this piece in a project before. And I know I say that a lot, but this piece, I'm certain I've never used this in a classroom project. All right. We're going to use, we get 2. That's how many are in a kit. How many of these axles are in a kit? 6 of those. So there's 6 of these in a kit, but there's only 4 of these in a kit. So I might go with the gray ones because I'm trying to make this something that can be built with an education kit. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to put that on here. Put that on there. Put this here. Now what am I going to do for the rest? Actually, let's make this symmetric. So we're going to do that, and then we still need one more set of connectors for this last one. For the last one, I think I got some options here. I can use a right angle axle connector, which I don't have any in here right now, but I can go grab some. They kind of look like this, except they're more of a right angle, and they're black. That might work. I could use, let me get all the pieces that I think might work. These might work. What else could work? Another option could be, maybe not the best choice, but I'm going to put it up here anyway because it has the features I'm looking for. No, actually, I couldn't use these pieces. I take that back. I can't use these pieces. The reason why, the feature that I'm looking for in the Lego piece is that it has to have axle connectors on both sides. And this one only has it on one side. Axle connectors are the little cross holes, as they are sometimes called. Okay, so I could use the boomerang piece because that's got the kind of feature I'm looking for. Other things that have this feature. And of course there's ways around it. Oh, that would be a cool piece to use. But how would I ever get it to connect? Wait, does that have the thing that I'm looking for? I was thinking this might work, but I think that I'm going to leave it out. Wait, did I grab the wrong piece? Those are 4s. I also have these pieces in size 5. They're 5 holes instead of 4 holes, but they're not. Actually, I have them 2, 3, 4, and 5. That actually would be really cool. But they aren't part of the kit, and I'm trying to stay legal on this project. So I do have 2 right angle axle connectors I could use. Let me grab some of those. That would be these pieces. So I can use 2 of those. I'm just going to leave 2 out. All right, so I could... Oof, that's going to be a problem. I really need 4 if I'm going to make that work. But maybe there's something here I can do. Let's think this through. Okay. I could use these. Let's take this paper out. I don't think we're going to use the small ones. Okay, so let's set this back up. I could use this. Seems like a good option. But what would I connect in the middle? I could, here's a weird way to do it. Let's throw this option out there. And then I use a beige. Oh, I kind of like this. All right. Oh, but it's all wiggly. That might not get the... Let's see. The wiggle might work in my favor. Let me try this out. I really want the this to start and end in the same place. So I might have to, let me see if I can. Yeah, that's not going to work because if I have a crank on one, if I'm cranking one side, it's going to make the whole, okay. They really, see what I'm showing here is that if I do this side, the rest of it doesn't spin. So I really need axles to be connecting everything. All right, so those pieces are a no-go. Throw those in there for another day. Okay. Which leaves me with a few other options. I could use these pieces. These have axle connectors on both ends. So I could put that there. and this here, and then pop that off. Not using those anymore. Not using that anymore. And we could put another axle on the bottom here. So now when we spin it, here's something that might make it more interesting as a feature. Let's switch it up. So now they're all on a different level. It ends and begins in the same spot, which is to say that I could put a piece, what I mean by that is that I could put a piece straight through here. I'm not going to, but that's kind of the goal, is for these to go, for something to be able to pass straight through. So it has one point of rotation. All right, now I'm just going to grab all right, so I've got this, and what we're going to do I want axle choices that all result in the same length in the end. So maybe if we put this here, okay, that's the same length, that's the same length. And we need another one for that last side. Too short. Too long. You know what, maybe that won't be a problem. So let's connect all those there. Something I'm not happy with in my design, and I don't know if I'm going to... So there's a lot of room here for wiggling. That might be good, but generally I don't like to see that in a project. Especially if you're going to do it in a classroom, because what will happen is kids will end up pushing things all together. Like it'll become all uneven, and it won't kind of like sit right. And one of the ways you can fix that is by putting bushings on here. Bushings are these pieces. So I could put a bushing here. And another bushing here. And it would still be room for half of a bushing left. But the wiggle might be good for this project today. It might give it a little bit of flexibility. So we'll leave it at that. What's going on over here? Okay. So the idea is it's going to stand up like this, and the motor's going to rotate it. And make the whole thing go. Should we, this looks like a good start, actually. I wonder if the boomerangs would be better there, but yes, because Oscar, yes. My mic's working. My mic's definitely working. Let's double check that. Hello. Hello, hello. My mic's working. Yeah, my mic's working. See, I can hear myself. Okay. Let's go back to boom, boom, boom. Yeah, mic is working. Oh, Miss Yadira is watching at home. All right. So let's get this standing. I'm going to make a little stand for this. I said I want to use the large motor in the beginning. Actually, this might be a stand that's going to have the integrated controller with it. So let me grab a controller. We could use the medium motor. You know what? Now if I use the medium motor, it's going to cover the buttons. What if I do it sideways like this? All right, this part's not important, so I'm just gonna connect it side style. I say it's not important now, but you know what? In a few minutes, Kuzazi, I think you're muted or something. You must have the mute button on the video, I bet. I bet it's muted on the video player, because it's definitely working. I know I often have mic problems, but today is not one of the days I have mic problems. Okay, we'll just use a snap. What's kind of going to be a problem is that it's touching the ground right now, and I don't want it to, I won't be able to put a wire in if I do it like that. I could do it like this, if we want this to be really elevated. That would be a little tall for a project. Let's make this compact. Then again, if I had it like I could put the medium motor right here. That'd still be really tall though. Here I'm going to take 2 snaps. Today's project is it's a platform for something that might be a fish, or it could be whatever you feel like. The idea is that this is going to spin like this, and if all these are sticking up and this is spinning, they're going to move up and down. And it's going to create some kind of movement. Yeah, it's like a camshaft. And so if all these are sticking up, it'll move. I'm not quite sure on the placement of the... Does that still fit through there? Okay, good. So they still have the same center point. I made a little rotational change here. I don't know if you guys can see that very well on camera. I made a little rotational change. Anyway, they still have the same center. I'm not really enjoying that look either. All right, I'm just going to use my little stand. I'm just going to make a little stand here. It's not an important part of the robot right now. I'll check out that video in a moment. I think I'm going to be able to finish this robot today, so I'll check that video out at the end, Kazazi. Miss Yadira was saying that you made some butterflies. with her yesterday. So I'm interested in what's happening there with the butterflies, for sure. Why am I... All right, forget that. Forget it. Forget it. Let me just do something else for a bit. All right, so on one end, I'm going to use this piece. This piece I think I'm going to connect into a motor, like that. A little close for comfort on that. Let me see. I'm going to put a little spacer on this so it doesn't rub up on the side. Okay. Now we just need something on the other side to hold it up. Let's use... I'll try a different size later. I'm going to stick with the long one right now. And we're going to use a frictionless peg to plug in here, I think. All right, now we've got something to shoot for. Okay, because I knew if I just built something else, it would start to make more sense. Okay, something I haven't considered is what I'm going to use to hold all of these up, because they all need to be held up. But figure that out soon enough. Don't need those axles anymore. The frictionless one is the beige and the gray ones, because they're really slippery. The ones with friction are the black and the blue ones, because they have little... If you look really closely at them, you'll see the black ones and the blue ones have little indentations on them, and the beige ones and the gray ones don't. Let me grab 2 of those. Okay, now you're standing on that side. Now we just need to do the other side. We could use a T. I feel like I'm halfway there. Halfway. Okay, it's standing. That's good. Something that I think would help is to have a stand that goes all the way across the bottom, so it doesn't like move like this. And I think that's actually going to be really important. So let me see about that. We really want to lock them. Oh, I know it'll be good for that. I need some snaps. Hold on. I'm going to put 4 down because I don't have any, and I'll save the rest for later. All right, let me put those 2 in the snap box. So I'm going to put 2 snaps down here. Oh, I can't snap in to the piece down here because it has an axle hole in it. That's a real bummer. Okay, so snaps are not where it's at. Should I just use a different piece for that? No, I don't think so. What else do I got? Let me check my list of parts. I've got, what would be really sturdy? Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way because it's gonna, these parts are gonna be up here. So maybe I just have something in the middle to hold it together. Like right there. Let's try that. Because there's some room. We need a slightly shorter piece. Okay. Oh, that really makes the whole thing kind of come together a bit better. Now I can see where the height problem was. Okay. All right, so now we just need longer axles. How many long axles do I have? I've got two really long ones. I've already got the two longest in here. So maybe I just need shorter axles? No. All right, I'm just going to put all the long ones on. The longest ones I have. And then we need something to like kind of hold it. This is not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Maybe it'll give me an idea for something else. All right. The reason why it doesn't work is because I have this, I made a weird rotation on this, which I think will be more interesting, but it's causing me problems right now, so I'm going to ditch it. Let me just make some cuts here. Oh. Some little edits. Let's change that. And let's change this one. Whoops. If this all works, whoa, that's not what I wanted. If this all works, I'll probably try a few different experiments on my own with this portion of it. But let's try it out first. Okay. So now they can at least all go up, I think. Let me see if this will work. That's not gonna, I knew that wouldn't work. I knew that wouldn't work. Why did I even try it? All right. So we really want something like that to work. You're eating watermelon. Watermelon is not something you want to eat, I think, while you're using a computer or using Legos. An L and a T combination. Oh, that's good. That's what I used. I used a T down here. I used a T down here to kind of keep it sturdy. You couldn't hear what I was saying earlier when I was mentioning that stuff, I think. Now I kind of thinking I liked it better the way I had it before, knowing that that thing wasn't going to work to begin with. All right. Let's Do it again. All right. I'm going to take these axles off just because they're getting in my way right now as I'm trying to fine tune this little portion. Okay. All right, I'm just going to take the whole thing off. It was easier to do when it wasn't all connected. And I like the way I had it the first time. So let me just leave this here. I think I've built this thing before. Now I'm looking at this. I think I have a project that's kind of like this. But like this part. I don't know what that project is, though. Okay. So we want all of these to land in the same pivot at the end of the day. Okay, good. We're back in business. Oh, the piano one, you're right. The piano one, which technically Miss Udira designed. She designed it and I made it better. But she came up with the design and built it all, and I just, sometimes I'm like the editor, and you got to go through and take things off. Hers was cooler though because it could do 4 keys, and I think the one I made only did 2. Hers could play more keys. I think she gave me, Kazazi, I think she gave me star pieces to give to you, but you have to come to our island. I sent you a dodo code yesterday, but the dodo code doesn't work anymore. But it would have worked yesterday. But it's always hard to like figure out a time and all that kind of stuff. All right. Now we're at the tricky part where we need something to hold all these up. And we could do that a couple different ways, I think, at least. I could make a little thing here. Let me just put a bunch of axles in. Now that I got that fixed. I'm using more axles right now. The long axles then are in a kit. I could make something that kind of like just holds it. Like that. That might be the best way to go, because they'll move a lot more. Or I could make something that has these pieces on it to kind of hold them up. Even then, There's some tricks here, but I'm going to stick with just something that's like a little wide. Or even better, I haven't used any of these yet. I could just use 2 of these. Let's give that a shot. That's a real lazy approach. When you're building robots for classroom use, sometimes you just got to think lazy. Because there's a bunch of lazy kids out there. Just kidding, kids. Oh, here's something that'll work really well, I think. Let's take this and if I have 1 here and 1 here and I have room in the middle, or what if I did 3? Technically 3 come in a kit and I could do it like that. Now this reminds me of the butterfly that we made because I had something up there for it to wiggle. So this is kind of like the butterfly now that I think about it. It's like a triple butterfly. Oh my gosh. I've made a triple butterfly. Okay. I just need something to hold this up now. On one side, I probably need a T. That's not the right kind of T, though. Or the T doesn't connect with where I needed to connect at. Soon, at the end. All right. I have a feeling I'm going to use L's for this. Can I get, was that high enough? All right. I know I want at least 1 L on this side, so I'm going to just go ahead and do that. And maybe I'll do another L on this side. Let me make sure I actually, sorry guys, let me make sure I actually have your video. All right. Oh, I see why you weren't able to send. The file, it's quite a big movie. Oh, you have a little contraption you're working on. All right. I can give you some notes on your contraption. All right, back to this. All right, we got that. We could use some more straight beams to kind of hold this up, I think. So I'm going to go with rather arbitrarily 7-hole beams. Actually, I'm going to use 9 because I use 9s in lots of projects, and if I ever double pack this project, it will be good. All right. What do we got? All right. So I'm going to put a piece here. Actually, let's wait to do that because that might be too tall. Based on the other side. Just trying some things out here. Trying to get things to line up properly. Okay, would that line up? No, it would not. Huh. All right, let's just do one side, and then we'll figure out the other side. How about that? All right. Maybe on this side it'll connect. Doesn't quite line up. Let's try that. That seems... Oh, that'll line up in the middle, I think. Let's give that a shot. Actually, that looks really crooked, but you know what? Let's go with it. If I force it together, I can just find another way to do it later. It's definitely off by 1. It's kind of hard to see here, but if you see, it's off by 1. I'm just gonna squeeze it. It's long enough that I can squeeze it without it actually messing up the structure. Structure will look a little rickety though, based on what I'm about to see here. All right, let's just snap it in. There we go. Height looks good, I think. It definitely is kind of pulling itself apart here because they're not lined up. All right, now let's go back to this thing. All right. Yeah, this is definitely the butterfly. The butterfly thing that we built. Now, what's hitting there? Oh, a little axle sticking out here that's hitting the edge of the beam as it spins. That's not ideal. All right, so what I need to do is make my axles longer. So I'm going to use these extenders. I have these little red extender pieces, and I'm just going to put one of those on the end of each one. And then I can put some more axles on the end. All right. Now it's too tall, or it's not tall enough. What was nice when we did this with the butterfly was that the butterfly was supposed to wobble around. And these are supposed to stay up straight. So the problem is, really the only problem is it's not tall enough. I could just make this taller. If I just make it taller like this, that's really what I need. I'll tell you what, let's take that off and let's just make it taller. Oh, I see what the problem is. The problem is that these are too wide. I need it, what I really need it to be is, instead of being like this, I need them to be like this. So there's less wiggle room for them. 3 holes. Actually, let me make my own. Because it's only as long as this. Let me just make my own. And I'll make mine has 2 holes. What can I do with that? What do I got? I can use that piece. Oh, I have 8 of those? Yeah, let's use that. Okay. 8 of these come in a kit. I feel like I never use them. I'm already using 2 today, so now I'm going to use 4 more. I'm going to use 2 more. And all I'm going to do, let me put that to the side. Let's ditch all that. None of that's being used anymore. Have fun in class, Owen. I tried to sign up for that Pokemon class, but the one was already booked for today. See ya. All right. We're going to use some blue axle connectors. This class might run a little bit long. Today. All right. Let's check this out. Oh yeah. All right, there's a problem there. I'll figure that out later. All right, so we just need to get this to connect. I'm going to connect this there, I guess. Easier said than done. Sometimes when you just keep adding more and more and more things, it starts to be like, maybe I should just restart. But I'm going to push through. Something that might be more ideal for this connector is to put another one of those pieces that I said I never use on here. Do I have any over here? No. This is becoming quite large. Here's some more. So I'm going to take this side off. I'm going to put 2 of these in. Put it on top here. Put another one on top. And now that gives me 2 pieces, so I can actually connect to it without it wobbling. All right, let's try this out again. This is too tall for the camera now. I don't think anyone's really seeing my vision for this yet, so I should probably take a break right after this and put the rest of it on, no matter where I am with it. All right, I'm going to get longer axles. This is no longer a project that could be done with an education kit because I'm going nuts with axles. Even then, it might still be too tall. Okay, let's look. Oh no, that works. All right. Hot diggity. All right, let me switch. Now that it's so tall, it doesn't really matter if we have the overhead view. I'm waiting for my computer to boot up. Let me clean up a little bit while that happens. All right, let's put it on motor control. All right, that's definitely too fast. Let's slow this down. It's got the effect I'm going for. That's cool. The one thing I see is that these size 4 pieces might be too long because it's such a wide movement. And that's what's causing such variation in like the distances. But the overall structure, although flimsy, seems okay. Let me cut some things out on paper, and we can see if we like it. All right. Just going to draw a little fish here. Let me line this up. Head, body, the tail should be like right there. Okay. All right, I drew a fish. Let me go cut it out. It doesn't have to be a fish though. With this, you could put on different things, I think. I mean, I don't think that. I know you could put on different things. What I mean is, assuming it works, we should be able to put on anything. Here, while I'm cutting this out, I think that's true. It's because it's on YouTube. We get more followers on Twitch. Let me show your video, Kuzazi, while I muck around with this, while I cut this out. All right. All right, so this is sent in by viewer Kazazi, who is, I'm not sure actually what was going on in the cloud. I didn't watch the whole thing yesterday, but you're making a contraption here. I see So you use gray pegs for 2 of them, which is good, but that black peg, you have 2 black pegs in there. You probably want to use gray pegs for those that are going to spin. Or the blue ones, you should use beige. Just a little hint. I know you guys were working on butterflies yesterday. So I like if this is supposed to be an abstract view of a butterfly, I like it. The little kind of like flapping motion. I like that you're experimenting with different like contraptions and different like gear setups and ways to use the gears and beam pieces. That's pretty cool. Let's watch that again. But definitely, if you used the beige and the gray pegs and axles, it would spin a lot easier. It would definitely spin easier with that. All right, let's bring me back up. And let's take that off and unplug that. And Miss Yadira is watching, so she was curious about what you were up to as well. Okay, let me cut out our little fish head here. And I'm going to cut the body into thirds because we have 3 axles up here. And the idea is that I'm going to stick one here, and one here. So let me give that a shot. What I've been doing, what I did with the butterfly with this is I would just tape them to the back of these red pegs. So let me go grab some tape. Oh yeah, it's hard. The other day I was trying to make a video of something and like I started taping my iPad. Like sometimes it's hard, even when you have all the equipment, it's sometimes still hard. Like I was taping an iPad to a thing yesterday because I didn't have a stand for an iPad and I needed to record something with it. And I was very frustrated. I ended up taping it to the table so that it wouldn't fall over. Okay, let's see how good this works. I get it. It's hard. Filming yourself is hard. It's cool. Thanks for sending the video, by the way. It's cool to see what you guys are up to. I'm working on like a video hotline where you guys can like go to a web page and like submit a video and it comes straight to us. Assuming you're in a chat, we can then talk about it. It isn't quite the look that I'm going for, but let's look. Let me get out of the way. What do you think? Yadira, is it good? Does it look like a fish swimming? Ah, the head fell off. Maybe it would be better if I switched. Let me spin it. That way the tail's on this side. If the costume was the costume could use some work. That looks worse, actually. But with some fine tuning, I think this would come out. I think this could come out a lot better. The fine tuning I would make is around this mechanism, like the length of each one and how long they are up here. And also the costume. If the costume was connected, it would be kind of cool. Yeah, overall, I think this is an okay design. It's almost classroom ready. Things that aren't classroom ready. This thing down here, that would be very hard for them to build, I think, in its current format. But the main thing that's keeping it is that it has too many parts. I have to figure out the right length for these axles here, which is related to the other piece that I'm having a problem with. So if I can figure out this part a little bit better, like fine tune it, really get the sizes in right, I think it would work really well. The wiggles down here aren't so bad. Let's try it one more time. It's almost there. Okay. So that is it for LEGO Robotics today. I'm much happier with this than the thing that we came up with yesterday, or last week. Not yesterday, last week, when we were building the fish. This one I think is sillier. Plus the kids could make their own costume for it. Like if this was a two-part project, one week they'd build it, and then next week they'd program it to move slowly and make the costume for it. I could see that as a class. Or as like one long class. This would work really well. The length, having too many axles isn't really a problem because we always buy extra parts. The wiggliness of this might be a problem for students, but I could fix that by using an L. If I use two L's, I could fix that instead of using the piece I used. All right, so that's it for today. We're going to be doing homework help for high schoolers today, where I do high school homework, computer science coding homework. You're all probably too young to want to tune in for that, but maybe someone else is watching and wants to tune in. We'll be doing some 9th grade Python programming assignments today for high schoolers.